Hello, my name's Karen and I'm the Impact Officer for BVSC and the project Impact in Action. This session is called Data in a Dash and is hopefully just 10 minutes long, explaining a little bit about data. I'm kindly funded by the City of London Corporation's charity City Bridge Trust. The session is about helping us to see how data can drive learning and improvement, which is particularly important given the unusual nature of COVID and lockdown and all of the things that are going to follow on from that. It's going to provide a taster of practical implementation and hopefully increase your knowledge of the further support that's available to you. So number one, data-driven. For those of you who have been on my 7 impact sessions, I talk about this learning cycle, plan, do, assess, review. And the thing that drives it around is information, is data. So you plan to do stuff and you're gathering up your data, and then you assess that data and you review it in order to improve your plan for next time. And all the way through, data is driving this circle. So when we want to share our information, and this is taken from another one of my 7 steps training sessions, we need to go through these 4 steps. So we decide the purpose and audience of who we're going to share data with and why. So this is where it becomes real. I had some data from doing some training to those who were applying to the National Lottery Community Fund's Bexley grant, so the COVID-19 grant. And I was thinking about how to use that data and how to share that data. So I thought to myself, well, the purposes of what I want to do is that I want to be able to share with the funder what I've been up to, where has their money gone, who has it been helping, and so on. So I wanted to share some information with funders. I also wanted to learn for myself and share that knowledge with other staff members. And then I had some other kind of less, just aside learning, side purposes as well. So here's my easy version of a dashboard type thing. So a dashboard is probably too strong a word here, but it just gives a little bit of a flavour, a little bit of a summary on one page, which is what I was aiming for. I'll just look on this screen where it's easier to see. So I asked pertinent questions of my data. Were groups new to Impact in Action? So are the people who came along on the training new to my project? And oh my goodness, yes, they were. Most of them, they're a minor contact or no contact, there it seems to have a blank, which is unknown, so I'll have to update that. And then what training sessions were most popular? You can see there that sessions 1 and 2 were particularly popular. I would say after session 2, these are chronological, there was the deadline for the first round, and then we had a second round of funding. So fewer people came on those sessions 3 and 4, but actually the conversations that came out of those were from much more embryonic groups, and they tended to move on into other forms of support as well. So sometimes you need some of the words, some of the narrative behind this as well. So this just gives you a tiny little summary. I could explain a little bit more about that, but we're under a time pressure of doing this in 10 minutes as promised. And behind that information is this information. So you can see at the right at the very bottom, there are a range of tabs. And in the Civi participant search, that's where the data is gleaned from. That's the raw data that I've got out of the database. And then you check through, clean it up. And then you can pivot tables, as you can see on the right here. And you get bits of that data and you pivot it in order to see the information, answers to the questions that you're asking yourself. In this case, the question is, what sessions were the most popular? And you do that with other questions. So you've got the further support one and so on, that tab at the bottom. You continue to do that with all your different questions. So for people who just want the executive summary, if you like, they can just look at the summary. For people who want to dig down, drill down deeper, there's a bit more. And the nice thing is, with that raw data, so if I change the raw data, it would then automatically update to the pivot table field. It would then automatically update to the summary, which is beautiful for monitoring. So some uses. So hopefully this has got your brain whizzing as to ways that you can use this kind of stuff in your organisation. But in my case, I used it for real-time evaluation, where I'm evaluating quite on the spot in a kind of almost monitoring way, and I'm checking stuff out and I'm learning from it and I'm changing what I do quite quickly. There's a quite quick response to it. So what responses were there? I decided that I would provide more one-to-one bookable sessions. So it's clearer to people that they can call on me for one-to-one support. And I'll show you how to sign up to that in a moment. I also updated my brochure. So I looked at this information, I discussed it with colleagues as well, and I decided to rename the brochure Impact and Funding. So it became much clearer to groups that impact is really, really linked to funding, especially from grants, grant-making trusts. So the new brochure, that's front and centre, so that obviously, like it seemed to be that the funding was the thing that drew people to the training, because I've got lots of new people. So if I want to get more new people, I need them to realise what the session is about more, that this will help their fundraising. Also, it helped me to share the information really quickly and easily at a staff meeting, and also it's nice and attractive, isn't it? And also I'm hoping to be sharing this with my funder. I talked a bit about real-time evaluation there, and there's a link there if you'd like to know more. We talk about in the 7 training sessions what monitoring is compared to evaluation, and real-time evaluation kind of almost sits in between, in the sense that you evaluate things quicker on the ground as you're doing stuff, so that you can then make changes and adapt. I'm wondering whether this is going to be really key with the quick changes that there have been with lockdowns and stuff like that, and as we come out the other side, hopefully. So further support. In 10 minutes, I can't cover everything. So come along to some of my 7 sessions. At time of recording, these were the next ones available. But if you need to start from session 1, you can do that in a couple of ways. You could ask me when the next lot of sessions may be running. That will depend on demand. So if you put your name on the list, I'm more likely to do it again. And then also I offer 7 sessions on demand. You can watch the videos at any point. You can read the booklets at any point. So hopefully it's really adaptable and really useful to you. Contact me on karen@bvsc.co.uk. The other sessions that are running, I've brought in support from Superhighways, and they'll cover data essentials. That's a nice gentle introduction. Excel for monitoring and reporting. Again, that kind of how are you going to start monitoring and reporting on your outcomes, the things that you're changing. And then the summer school goes through some of that dashboard stuff that I've just shared. So that's really good, and I'd really recommend that. You need to ideally sign up for all of them. Contact me if you've got questions on that. Then I've also brought in some training from the Coalition for Efficiency. I think that this Agile one, particularly pertinent at the moment, measuring impact in a crisis. Things are still very changeable at the moment, you know, so how do we measure that impact? And loads of other things that are really great, taking us right through to December. The one-to-one funding discussions you can book up on the website, go to events, and then you'll scroll down and see various different dates. So none of those dates suit, or if all the dates have run out, then contact me. So I hope that was helpful. You're really welcome to be in touch. It'd be great to hear from you. Great to hear what you think of this session and my other sessions. Thank you very much.